Of everything written about the shocking truth behind local games in Indonesia, the most important context keeps getting dropped from the main narrative. The guy behind the warung counter is supposed to be refilling the crackers right now, but his eyes are locked on his phone, thumb flicking across the screen like he's harvesting rice at harvest time. Inside the tiny screen, his character is dodging arrows from a red-scarfed bandit, while his backpack fills with resin and iron ingots. A notification pings, "Team match in 2 minutes." He drops the refill bin, mutters, "Waktu habis," and steps outside to join the other 5 neighbors already hunched over their screens on the sidewalk. This is not an arcade, this is an average Tuesday night in a small town in West Java, and it's happening in millions of pockets across the archipelago. What you're watching is the quiet riot of Indonesian-made mobile games exploding past the global blockbusters. No, they're not polished AAA affairs. Imagine the color palette of a batik stall at 1000% saturation and the gameplay loop of tap, wait, tap again. But the players don't care. They care about speed, about the rush of seeing your name climb the local leaderboard, about the way the app icon in your phone drawer suddenly feels personal, like it's talking directly to you in Bahasa Gaul. That icon, it could be a stick figure hero named Jago, or a pixelated Ketapat-shaped power-up, or a glitched-looking dragon wearing a batik sarong. The graphics are deliberately chunky, because every kilobyte saved means faster load times on a 3G tower, shared by half the RT neighborhood. Look closer and you'll notice something even more interesting. The games are not just entertaining, they're functioning as microeconomies. I saw a video where a player in Makassar turned his daily 40-minute commute into a daily profit session by selling in-game potions to strangers in a WhatsApp group right before the evening surge. No inventory bots, no shady RMT brokers, just someone who learned that his idle minutes had value and treated them like a side hustle. The app didn't change his life. His hustle did. But the game gave him the scaffolding to see the scaffolding. Why is this momentum growing right now? 2 words. Offline first design. In a country where signal drops from full bars to searching in the stretch between 2 rice fields, any game that needs a constant cloud connection is instantly dead weight. The local studios started small. 1 engineer in Bandung, another in Malang, swapping Unity snippets via Telegram, and ended up building experiences that run on a potato phone with 512 megabytes of RAM. They call it HP Jadal mode. And it's not a gimmick, it's survival. When you bring your phone to a family gathering in the village, and the network crawls, your cousin who spent the last 3 months farming in-game durian is still happily online, while Candy Crush friends are staring at a frozen loading screen. Another engine of growth is nostalgia as a cheat code. Watch how these games weaponize familiar shapes, the house layout from your childhood home, the school uniform color, the exact shade of orange on the angkot you rode every morning. One game I played last week had a mini-game where you throw a kite into a tree. Simple. But the tree was drawn from a photo the developer took in his own backyard. That tiny detail is the difference between an app and a memory you can hold in your hand. Psychologists call it the Proust effect, but here it's pure marketing. You don't need flashy cutscenes when your brain already routes straight to Grandma's kitchen. Let me show you how deep this rabbit hole goes. I met a developer in Yogyakarta whose day job is teaching graphic design at a vocational school. After class, he sneaks into the empty lab to test new art for his game about a street food vendor. He uses his students' own doodles as reference. Think of it as crowdsourced authenticity. The students in turn sneak their phones into the lab to playtest his builds, arguing over optimal stall placement like it's a mini version of the real Midnight Market. The game never left Java, but the design loop is already teaching the next generation that their local knowledge is worth putting into pixels. Contrast that with the global gacha giants that treat Indonesia as one big emerging market to be optimized. They A/B test banner colors. They tweak drop rates overnight. They speak in Google Sheets graphs. Meanwhile, the local teams iterate in the same WhatsApp groups, where they share screenshots of their kids' drawings. Their roadmap isn't a spreadsheet. It's a conversation at 11 p.m. on a motorbike seat, deciding whether to add a new minigame about Bekak races. That proximity to the player's life is why these games feel alive in a way no polished Western release ever will. Now, before you dismiss all this as cute local color, consider the money. The biggest local publishers are still private, but their revenue numbers have leaked enough to make foreign VCs take notice. Even conservative estimates put some of these studios in the high seven figures annually, not from a single hit, but from dozens of 99-cent microtransactions multiplied across millions of downloads. What's more surprising is where that money doesn't go. TV ads, influencer trips to Bali, glossy billboards in Jakarta. They spend it on community events, pocket tournaments held in warangs, where the prize is a bag of instant noodles and bragging rights. The CPM might be microscopic, but the ROAS is sky high, because every dollar feels like a handshake. So what's next? First, the rise of hybrid games. Think of a rhythm game where the tracks are danged at samples, or a farming sim where the crops ripen in sync with actual harvest seasons in different provinces. The second direction is verticalization, games that are laser-focused on one audience slice. I played one recently called Gaddis RT, where the protagonist is an RT, neighborhood head, solving petty disputes between warung owners and fixing broken water pipes. It's basically a visual novel with municipal paperwork, and the players, local RTs themselves, using it to vent frustrations and swap solutions anonymously. The game isn't for tourists, it's for the people who actually run your neighborhood. If you want to take something away from this chaos, here it is. The next big thing in games might not come from a studio with a glass-walled campus in Singapore, or a Kickstarter video shot with drone footage. It might come from a WhatsApp group in a small town where the Wi-Fi cuts out every 20 minutes, and the graphic artist is a part-time graphic design teacher. The real shock isn't the scale of the market, it's the scale of the creativity being unlocked by constraints most global studios would call deal breakers. Close your eyes for a second, and picture the next game icon you're going to tap. Now imagine the developer sitting on a motorbike tonight, checking the nightly crash logs in his lap, tweaking the balance so the game feels fair to the 3 a.m. player in Papua who just finished his shift at the mine. That balance is the real shock. It's not in the numbers or the charts. It's in the quiet attention to detail,